Thank you all for joining tonight. We will start in just 1 minute to allow time for others to join. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual public information meeting for state project number 004136, which is the replacement of bridge number 2112 carrying Route 10 over an unnamed brook in Avon, Connecticut. My name is Corey Burrows from the Connecticut Department of Transportation Consulting Bridge Design Team, and I will be the MC for tonight's virtual public informational meeting. We hope that everybody finds this presentation informative and that we'll be able to answer any questions and concerns that you have. I also want to thank Jennifer Wasman from the Town Manager's Office for coordinating with the project team and for helping make tonight's meeting happen. Next slide, please. Before we get started with the main presentation, I want to walk through the goals and format for tonight's meeting. First, I will introduce the project team, including the department leadership, the consultant liaison, and the design teams. I will also explain how to interact with us during this meeting. Then we will have the technical portion of the presentation, which will include the condition of the existing structure, the purpose and need for the project, the recommended design, which is progressed to a 30% level. Following the technical presentation, we will open up the forum to comments and questions. Next slide, please. As part of the Title VI Civil Rights, no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. A link is provided on this slide for additional civil rights information. We would greatly appreciate if you would complete the public survey after tonight's meeting. A link and a QR code are provided on this slide. Links to both the public survey and the civil rights flyer are also available on the project website. Next slide, please. This is the Title VI notice to the public, which states that the Connecticut Department of Transportation operates its programs and services without regards to race, color, and national origin in accordance with the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Any person who believes he or she has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under the Title VI may file a complaint with CTDOT. Next slide, please. This slide has the Title VI notice to the public in Spanish. I will pause on the screen for a minute before moving on to the next slide. Next slide, please. Available to those of us joining through Zoom is the option to view captions or subtitles. To turn on this feature, select the Show Captions button or the CC button at the bottom of your screen. Then select the Speaking Language button and then select the desired language. Next slide, please. To use the Zoom Q&A function, select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the webinar window. The Q&A window will open as seen on the right, then you can type the question in the text box and click Enter and it will submit the question. Questions can be submitted in multiple ways for the quickest response. Please submit questions through the Zoom Q&A as noted on the previous slide. This function will only be available during tonight's meeting. If you would like to submit your question through email, please use the email provided, ctdot.project004-0136@ct.gov. And lastly, if you prefer to submit your question by phone, you can call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail. Please state your name and reference the project number as the reason for your call in the voicemail. The project email, voicemail, and Q&A box will be screened by the project team, and the project team will then read the questions out loud. Questions may be asked at any time during the presentation, but they will not be answered until the end. There is also a project webpage with a recording of tonight's meeting will be made available. The webpage will also include information that was explained on how to leave questions and comments for the project team. The website is shown on this slide. Note the question and comment period by phone and by email is open through April 14th. Questions and comments after tonight's meeting will be submitted via email or phone. Next slide, please. I'd like to now introduce the project team. First, from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, we have Derek Lassard, project engineer, Francisco Fadul, project manager, Corey Burrows, project engineer, and Kathleen Erickson, property manager. Next slide. Additionally, CHA is consulting on the project as the Connecticut Department of Transportation's consultant liaison engineers. From CHA, we have Don Wurst, the CLE program manager, and John Wangle, the project manager. Banesh is the consulting design engineer for this project. Mark Havoc is the project manager, Ryan Allard is the roadway lead, and Steve Allman is the traffic lead. This slide shows a map of Connecticut and just highlights the location of Avon relative to the rest of the state of Connecticut. Avon is located in Connecticut District 4. Next slide, please. Here you'll see the location of the project site relative to Route 10, locally known as Waterville Road. To the left is an image of the bridge elevation. I will now hand over the presentation to Kathleen Erickson to discuss the rights-of-way process.
Thank you, Corey. So again, my name is Kathleen Erickson, and I'm a project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights-of-Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring property rights that are needed for transportation projects all throughout the state. So as you'll see in this presentation, this project will require the acquisition of property rights. So I'd like to give you just a brief overview of what the acquisition process looks like. Before I get further into that, though, I do want to mention that the specific property impacts for this project are still being finalized, and they may change as the design progresses. Also, any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes Sections 13A-73 and 13A-98E, as well as the Uniform Act. And next slide, please. So the right-of-way acquisition process begins once the design has progressed to a development milestone and all of the impacts for the project have been determined. At that point, each affected property owner will receive from our office a formal letter of intent to acquire, along with a property map which depicts the exact property rights to be acquired. On the screen here, you can see a sample of what those property maps look like. Next, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights, which will be used to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and to explain the state's offer. The property owner will have a reasonable amount of time, which is typically about 30 days, to consider the state's offer and to enter into negotiations. Then, once an agreement has been reached, the department will prepare all the necessary paperwork to record the deed and the property map on the town land records. However, if an agreement cannot be reached, in order to keep on schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state will file a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner would then have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt the state's offer was inadequate. Now, whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner at any time. It is important to note, though, that the state will only acquire the property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions about the right-of-way acquisition process, I'm happy to answer those during the Q&A portion of tonight's meeting, but for now I'm going to turn it over to John to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Kathleen. My name is John Wengel. I'm from CHA. I'm the project manager for the CLE on this program. I'd first like to start off with a quick overview of the project. The Bridge 02112 was built in 1927. It is an 8-foot single-span bridge consisting of a concrete slab on stone masonry, abutments, and wing wall. The current roadway width is 30 feet with an average daily traffic of 15,000 vehicles per day. The project purpose is to address the structural deficiencies of State Bridge number 02112, which carries Route 10 over an unnamed brook in the town of Avon, to accommodate safe travel for all facility users on the bridge and proper conveyance of the brook water below. Some of the project needs are to resolve the substructure NBI rating of 4, which is poor condition, maintain a deck slab NBI condition rating of fair, or to improve to a satisfactory level 6 or better, to achieve load rating factors of a 1.2 or greater for all rating vehicles, to maintain the stream flow under Route 10, Also to maintain overhead utilities throughout the site and during construction, to consider pedestrian and bicycle facilities and access, and to install MASH-compliant parapets on the bridge and guide rail at the approaches. The National Bridge Inventory NBI rating scale can be seen to the right and ranges from 9, which is excellent condition, to 0, which is a failed condition. Our project need is to raise the NBI rating to a 6, or a satisfactory rating, or greater for all our condition-related items. The condition rating is a judgment of a component's condition compared to the original as-built condition, which is also used to provide an overall characterization of the general condition of the component being rated. Now I'd like to hand the presentation over to Mark Habeck, the project manager from Banesh Consulting.
Thanks, John. We'll start by looking at the existing conditions of the superstructure for the bridge. Shown here are some photos of the concrete upstream rail base, the underside of the bridge deck, and the downstream fascia. As you can see, there are deteriorations here, spalls to the concrete with existing rebar shown. These deteriorations to the bridge structure contribute to a rating for both the deck and the superstructure of a 5, or in fair condition. Moving on to the next slide. The existing conditions of the bridge substructure and the channel. The substructure is currently rated as a 4, or in poor condition. As you can see in the photos, there's deteriorations to the southerly stone masonry abutment shown in the top right portion of your screen. As you can see in the bottom left, the southeast wing wall corner, there were grout bags placed there to try to lengthen the life of the structure as well as protect the existing structure. In the northeast corner, the northeast wing wall, gabion walls were installed as well as riprap to help protect the existing structure. And in the southwest portion of the bridge, the southwest wing wall, concrete repairs were made to that wing wall as well. So again, all these deteriorations contribute to a rating of a 4, or a poor condition for the substructure. Getting into the proposed plans, this is the proposed roadway plan for the project. As you can see, the proposed bridge is shown in orange. The stream or watercourse is shown in light blue, and the proposed full-depth construction for the roadway portion of the project is shown in yellow. The green shaded areas are the proposed grading, which will be required for the widening of the roadway, which I will get into in a few slides when we look at the proposed roadway section. This is the remainder of the project limits. This is the northern side, just to the north of the bridge. Again, you can see the full depth reconstruction shown in yellow for the roadway and the proposed grading shown in green. Proposed work to the bituminous concrete driveways in the area is shown in dark gray. This is the existing and proposed roadway profile. As you can see, the existing profile is shown as that wavy shape with 2 crests. We will be flattening that out, so the proposed roadway profile will have a single crest curve. We'll have a cut before we get to the bridge and after, and filling in the center portion of the roadway there to create a nice smooth crest curve for the proposed bridge project. Getting into the bridge structure itself, this is a rendering of the proposed elevation of the bridge. The proposed structure is shaded in orange, and you can see the 12-foot by 8-foot concrete box culvert shown, with approach walls and wing walls shown on both sides of the bridge structure, and the proposed natural stream bed material inside that culvert shown in brown. Okay, looking at the bridge cross sections. So the existing bridge cross section is shown on the top of your screen. The approximate roadway width is 30 feet curb to curb in the existing conditions. The proposed cross section shown below has a widening of that roadway. So instead of existing 11-foot wide lanes, we're going to two 12-foot wide lanes. We also have a bicycle lane on each side of that bridge, which is 5 feet wide at both ends. And between the bicycle lane and the vehicular lanes is a 7-foot 6-inch buffer zone between vehicular traffic and the bicyclists. Okay, getting into how the bridge will be constructed, maintenance and protection of traffic during construction. We will have 3 different phases. The first phase is shown here, where we're installing traffic barrier on the west side of the roadway, slightly shifting traffic down to the east. We'll be maintaining 1 lane in each direction here. So traffic will be moving both ways during phase 1 of construction, when the outlet portion or the western portion of the bridge will be demolished and removed, the existing structure, and the proposed structure at the outlet, including the wing walls and approach walls, will be constructed during phase 1. Phase 2 will be a 2-week detour. The detour plan is shown here. So traffic will be detoured to the west using West Main Street, West Avon Road, and Farmington Avenue. As you can see, the bridge is on the right there, shaded in orange. And during this phase of the construction is when the bulk of the work in the center of the roadway will be done. The existing bridge will be removed. The proposed box culverts will be installed, and the roadway work to get that proposed profile that was shown earlier will be done as well. That will all be done during the 2-week detour for phase 2. Which brings us to the final phase of maintenance and protection of traffic and construction, phase 3. You can see the traffic barriers are set up to the eastern side of the roadway for this phase. Again, similar to phase 1, traffic will be moving in both directions, 1 lane, both directions, shifted to the western side of the roadway. And at this point of construction, the inlet portion of the bridge or the eastern side will be constructed with the proposed wing walls and approach walls and the remainder of the culvert. Okay, so this slide shows the right-of-way plan, taking areas, easements, as well as drainage right-of-way. You can see the taking areas are shown in that peach color, both on the eastern side and the western side of the project. There are temporary construction easements shown in light green, as well as the drainage right-of-way shown in blue. There are easements to slope for the support of the highway, and easements to slope for the safety of the highway, also shown in the project. And those are mostly in those grading areas that I talked about previously. The rights to construct the driveways are shown in gray on your screen, and the other property lines are shown in those other colors shown in the right side of the legend. So getting to the project schedule and construction cost, the construction for this project will begin in approximately 2 years, the spring of 2027. The project will be 1 construction season, so construction will end in the fall of that same year, 2027. The estimated construction cost for the project is about $3.2 million. This will be made up of 80% federal funding and 20% state funds. So with the federal and state funding making up 100%, work will be done at zero costs to the town of Avon. And again, these numbers are preliminary and subject to change, but these are the current estimates for the job.
Thank you, Mark. This concludes the presentation for tonight's meeting. We will now open up to the open forum portion for your comments and questions. As a reminder, you can enter your questions into the Zoom Q&A window. You can also submit an email at the following address for dotproject 004-0136@ct.gov or call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail, and the project team will get a hold of you as soon as we can. Following the meeting, if you're able to, please fill out the brief post-meeting survey. This can be found on the project website. Your feedback helps us improve the virtual meeting process for the future, and we really appreciate your participation. I also want to remind everybody that the comment period is open until April 14th, 2025. Should you have any questions or comments after the meeting concludes? We have a question from Mariane. Is there any chance that the federal funds will be clawed back if Doge takes its chainsaw to the federal DOT? I think we can answer that one live. There isn't really a concern with federal funding at this point being taken away from these projects. Infrastructure is generally a bipartisan issue and is supported by both sides. Thank you. All the information we discussed tonight about the project, including the brief survey and the project email address, can be found at the project website, and a recording of the presentation will also be posted to the website following tonight's meeting. We have a question from L. Kenny. Can you please show again where exactly on Route 10 this is? Sure. Can you go back to the map? So this is located between Telcott Road and John, what's the road to the north here?
It's Avon, Old Farms Road, right by the Fisher Meadows School, or sorry, the Fisher Meadows Recreational Area. I
And
can also
then
bring up the
the
detour
equestrian
map again.
facility too.
Yep. Avon Show Stables is right here,
Mhm.
adjacent to the bridge, directly adjacent. I'll go down the detour map so they can have a larger view of where this is. The project is located just south of Old Farms Road and just north of Talcott Notch Road.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
As a reminder, you can enter questions into the Zoom Q&A window. You can also submit a question by email using the following email address, dotproject004-0136@ct.gov, or you can call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail, and the project team will get a hold of you as soon as we can. Also know that if you think of something after this meeting, the comment question is open until April 14th. El Kenny, why is the road being widened in addition to the bridge work? John, do you want to answer this one?
Sure, yes, Corey. The bridge being widened for two reasons. One reason being the condition of the existing stone masonry abutments don't really allow for traffic to safely be passed over. So we're slightly widening the bridge to the west to accommodate staging of the work. One of the second reasons is that we're trying to comply with Complete Streets Initiative, which is pretty much to assess each road individually for bicycle and pedestrian needs and desires. So that's one reason why we are widening the road. It works out well because we are also widening it for the staging.
Thank you, John. I think I'll give it another minute or so to see if any more questions come in. You can enter your questions in the Q&A windows or send us an email, or you can call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail. At the conclusion of the comment period, the report of meeting will be drafted for the presentation that will include all the questions and answers during the meeting tonight, as well as during the comment period. It looks like that's it tonight for questions. Thank you, everyone. Oh, one more come in. El Kenny, can you put in a link to the bike plans you referenced as already established? El Kenny, if you can provide us your email address, we could email that to you after the meeting. We have a question from Anthony Weber. Avon has a, actually looks like it's more of a direction. He said Avon has a connectivity master plan is available on the town website. Thank you, Anthony. All right. I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. As a final reminder, you can submit questions via email after the presentation concludes by emailing dotproject004-0136@ct.gov. You can also call and leave a voicemail at 860-594-2020. Make sure you reference the project number and leave your name, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And that comment period is open until April 14th. Thank you everyone for attending and your participation in tonight's virtual public information meeting. We appreciate everybody's time, input, and questions. Have a great night, everybody.